The old Victorian mansion on Elm Street had always cast a foreboding presence over the quiet town of Ravenwood. Its dark, imposing structure loomed like a sentinel in the night, a relic of a bygone era that whispered tales of secrets buried deep within its walls. It was a house shrouded in mystery, but for all the rumors and legends that surrounded it, no one truly knew the horrors that lay hidden behind its decaying facade. The summer of 1953 marked a turning point in the history of Ravenwood. That was the year the Anderson family moved into the notorious Elm Street mansion. Dr. Daniel Anderson, a renowned archaeologist, along with his wife, Victoria, and their two children, Olivia and William, had been searching for a quiet place to escape the bustle of the city. The moment they laid eyes on the mansion, it was as if fate had drawn them to it. The house, though grand and imposing, had seen better days. The once vibrant garden was overgrown with thorny brambles, and the cobblestone path leading to the front door was cracked and uneven. Dr. Anderson couldn't resist the allure of the past, the mystery that clung to every corner, and the promise of buried artifacts waiting to be discovered. The day they moved in, the townsfolk gathered to watch. Gossips whispered amongst themselves, exchanging fearful glances. They couldn't understand why anyone would willingly choose to live in a place that had earned its chilling reputation over decades. As the Andersons settled in, the family soon became the subject of local curiosity. Olivia and William, however, embraced their new home with youthful wonder, captivated by the mansion's eerie charm. The children spent their days exploring the hidden corners of the house, their footsteps echoing through the empty hallways. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows through the mansion, Olivia discovered a small door hidden behind a dusty tapestry in the attic. With trembling hands, she pulled it open, revealing a narrow, winding staircase that seemed to lead to nowhere. Olivia's heart raced as she beckoned her brother to join her. "William, look what I found," she exclaimed, her voice a mixture of excitement and trepidation. Together, they climbed the stairs, their footsteps creaking on the old wooden boards. At the top, they found themselves in a dimly lit room filled with antique furniture and dusty books. It was a forgotten chamber, untouched for decades. Among the relics and oddities that cluttered the room, one particular object drew their attention: a weathered journal. William picked it up, blowing off a cloud of dust before carefully opening it. The journal belonged to someone named Benjamin Reed, and its pages contained a chilling account of the mansion's dark history. According to the journal, the mansion had once belonged to a reclusive doctor named Nathaniel Hawthorne, who had conducted bizarre experiments on his patients. Driven by madness, he believed he could cheat death by transferring a person's essence into a life-sized skeleton. The journal detailed the doctor's descent into madness as he experimented on his unwilling subjects, transforming them into grotesque living skeletons. Olivia and William exchanged horrified glances as they read the gruesome accounts of those long-forgotten atrocities. The journal spoke of eerie sounds in the dead of night, of shadows that move on their own, and of the agonized cries of those who had suffered at the hands of Dr. Hawthorne. Despite their fear, the children were captivated by the macabre tale. They decided to keep the journal a secret, a shared bond that bound them closer to their new home. Little did they know that their discovery would unravel the darkest secrets of the Elm Street mansion. As the weeks passed, the Andersons continued to settle into their new life. Dr. Anderson became engrossed in his research, spending long hours in the basement, which he had converted into a makeshift laboratory. Victoria, on the other hand, began to notice strange occurrences in the house. Objects moved on their own, whispers echoed in empty rooms, and the air grew icy cold in certain areas. One night, as Olivia and William lay in their beds, they heard their mother's frantic footsteps echoing through the hallways. Victoria burst into their room, her face pale with terror. "Children, you must leave this place," she pleaded, her voice trembling. "There's something evil in this house, and I fear it's not safe for us." But the children were determined to uncover the truth about the mansion, and they couldn't abandon their newfound mission. They reassured their mother that everything would be fine, but the terror in her eyes lingered. The following day, Dr. Anderson made a startling discovery in the basement. Beneath the floorboards, he unearthed a hidden chamber filled with life-sized skeletons. They were meticulously crafted, each one a grotesque and horrifying work of art. It was as if the nightmares of Dr. Hawthorne had come to life. Dr. Anderson couldn't contain his shock and horror. He called for his family, and together, they gazed upon the nightmarish tableau. The skeletons stood silently, their hollow eye sockets seeming to watch the intruders with malevolent intent. As they examined the room, they noticed an ornate altar at the center, adorned with strange symbols and candles that still burned despite the passage of time. On the altar, there lay a single, tattered journal, the final testament of Dr. Nathaniel Hawthorne. The journal revealed that the doctor had indeed succeeded in his grotesque experiments. The souls of his victims were trapped within the skeletal forms, cursed to wander the mansion for eternity. Dr. Hawthorne believed that by imprisoning their souls, he could achieve immortality, but instead, he had condemned himself and his victims to an eternity of torment. The discovery sent shivers down the spines of the Anderson family. They realized that the malevolent presence in the house was not just a figment of their imagination. It was the tormented souls of the doctor's victims, trapped in skeletal prisons. Desperate to free the trapped souls and cleanse the house of its dark history, Dr. Anderson decided to conduct a ritual. Using the knowledge he had gained from the journal, he gathered the necessary materials and began the ceremony in the basement. Olivia, William, and Victoria watched in trepidation as their father chanted incantations and lit candles. As the ritual reached its climax, the air grew thick with tension. The skeletons in the hidden chamber began to tremble, and their eye sockets glowed with an eerie, ethereal light. It was a sight of horror and wonder, as the souls trapped within the bones slowly began to detach and ascend, their ghostly forms rising like mist. But just as the last soul was about to be freed, a bone-chilling scream echoed through the house. Dr. Hawthorne's malevolent spirit, enraged at the intrusion and the destruction of his life's work, emerged from the shadows. His ghostly figure, a ghastly specter with hollow eyes, floated menacingly towards Dr. Anderson. In a desperate bid to protect her husband, Victoria stepped between Dr. Anderson and the vengeful spirit. She spoke soothing words, trying to reason with the tormented soul. But Dr. Hawthorne's anger was implacable, and with a ghastly shriek, he lashed out, sending a surge of spectral energy through Victoria's body. Victoria collapsed to the ground, her body lifeless. Dr. Anderson and the children watched in horror as her soul, now free from its earthly vessel, joined the other spirits that had been released. With a final, mournful wail, Dr. Hawthorne's malevolent presence dissipated into the shadows, leaving behind an eerie silence. The house was cleansed, the tormented souls finally free from their skeletal prisons. But the cost had been high. and the Anderson family had paid a devastating price for their curiosity. Dr. Anderson, overcome with grief and guilt, vowed to leave the mansion behind. Together with Olivia and William, he moved away from Ravenwood, leaving behind the haunted house and its dark secrets. The old Victorian mansion on Elm Street once again stood silent and foreboding, its secrets buried deep within its decaying walls. The townsfolk continued to avoid the place, knowing that the house held a darkness that no one should ever dare to uncover. And so, the mansion remained, a silent sentinel in the night, a testament to the horrors of the past, and a warning to all who passed by. The warning of the skeletons in the house.